What's up, design family, and welcome back to another episode of FittDesign TV. So glad to have you back on the channel. On today's episode, we'll be looking at the inherent advantages of seamless production for sportswear garments. We've done a separate video in the past in which we've gone through the top 5 myths surrounding seamless sportswear, and I sort of debunked them. I wanted to give another side of the same coin, and on today's episode, look at the inherent advantages and why seamless production is actually something you may want to consider. And no doubt about it, this is a side of the sportswear industry that you've most likely heard about if you've been paying any attention, and it's taken the fashion world by storm. There are a lot of key advantages that I wanted to discuss in this episode, so without further ado, we're going to get right into it. Hey guys, and welcome to FittDesign TV. So glad to have you here. On this channel, we discuss all things sports fashion, graphic design, manufacturing, and technology. We'll discuss key topics, answer pressing questions, and provide actionable steps on starting your own product line. If you're interested in any of the above topics, stick around. You're in for a good one. For as long as fashion garments have existed, we've used the traditional cut and sew method to create the fabric, cut it down to size, and sew it together. Seamless tubular knit construction actually helps to combine all 3 of these parts together, thereby reducing time needed to create the product, the cost associated with it, and reduces the fabric wastage. So there are a ton of inherent benefits that we're going to go into detail in this video. Number one of the key advantages of seamless knit construction is that because of the removal of these seams, you end up with an improved aesthetic value to the garment as well as performance. Because you no longer have these physical seams, you avoid things like seam puckering. So seam puckering is where 2 pattern pieces are joined together and one of them has too much fabric because of potentially human error or bad design, and you end up with these wrinkles or these folds called puckers. This reduces the performance of the garment and creates an unsightly look. At the same time, you may have what is known as a mismatch in the grain line of the pattern pieces. Again, if your pattern pieces are cut incorrectly or they're not strategically placed when you have your pattern pieces on the fabric, you may end up with a mismatch of grain lines. With seamless knit construction, you avoid that because the actual piece is constructed all in one go, and you end up with a garment that looks good and performs insanely well. This creates a smooth and a sleek fitted garment that's going to perform at the highest level. Number 2, with seamless knit construction, you have what is known as an enhanced range of motion or an added flexibility. When it comes to the construction of any garment, the seam lines are actually the areas of the garment that have the lowest amount of elasticity. This mismatch in elasticity between the main body fabric and the seam lines creates a weakened range of motion to the garment. So with seamless knit construction, you're eliminating those seams and you're actually enhancing the flexibility of the garment, allowing the wearer to be more comfortable and for the garment to perform at a higher level. Number 3, seamless knit construction actually allows for an inherent softness in the garment itself. The lack of seams brings with it many benefits, and one of them is just an overall enhanced comfort experience for the wearer. The lack of seams on the shoulder lines, the collar lines, the underarm, all create the lack of friction or irritation. When we stitch 2 pieces of fabric together, you have what is known as a seam allowance. This is an extra piece of fabric that is folded in on the inside of the garment, and usually if it's a plain seam, it's left flapping about, and you can actually feel that if you press that seam up against the surface of your skin. With seamless knit construction, you eliminate that because you actually no longer have seams, thereby removing the key seam allowances, the bulky stitches that actually are causing that friction. So this is one major benefit to seamless knit construction. Number 4, one of the key benefits of seamless garments is the reduced costs of these garments. Contrary to popular belief, actually seamless garments can actually be cheaper than their cut and sew counterparts. This is simple. It's because we're eliminating a lot of the processes and procedures that are only existing on cut and sew garments. These are things like the cut and sew operation. These are things like spreading, cutting, storing, or actually inspecting the finished garment. All of these things are eliminated when it comes to seamless garments, which is going to bring your costs down. Number 5 is the added benefit of a reduction in waste. When it comes to seamless knit construction, you're actually eliminating a lot of the wasted parts of your traditional cut and sew garments. This is things like the spreading process or the cut and sewing process. You actually also save on the amount of fabric used because you're throwing out less, and actually the amount of yarn used. So you're saving money and waste on all parts of the supply chain. Number 6, when it comes to seamless knit construction, you actually get the added benefit of fewer duds or actual product failures. When it comes to traditional cut and sew garments, most of the failures are actually a result of the seam construction. Because of the lack of the seam construction in seamless knit garments, you end up with fewer duds or these product failures because you're eliminating the key driver of these failure rates. Number 7, seamless knit construction actually opens up a world of possibilities for your designs. You can create a variety of different patterns, knits, colors, perforations, and because the process of creating these knits and the actual structure of the garment are both done at the same time, you can actually create knits that enhance the performance and the structure of the garment. So you're sort of approaching it from both ways, and you can do a lot. Just look at your favorite shapewear brands. A lot of the performance aspects of those garments are coming from the knits themselves. When it comes to seamless knit construction, you benefit from what is known as just-in-time production. Because each garment is created in its entirety, piece by piece, you can create just as many garments as you need at the times that you need them. Number 9, you benefit from the ability to add ventilation and comfort and performance into your garment. Because of the ways in which garments are knitted, you can actually engineer perforations into the fabric in strategic places for performance and comfort. You can't do this in any other garment without actually cutting and sewing the piece or laser cutting it, potentially thereby compromising the fabric. But with seamless knit, you actually enhance the performance of the garment by adding these perforations, potentially for comfort, for performance, or even for style. Well, that is a wrap, guys. This video has been an overview of the 9 key advantages of seamless knit construction. It's an area where the limitless possibilities are endless, and it's an area I highly recommend you look into if you're interested in it and design something that feels that you're taking full advantage of this technology. Also, if you guys enjoyed this video, please consider smashing a thumbs up. It really does help us out. Also, we put out great videos like this on a week-to-week basis, and we wouldn't want you to miss them. So consider subscribing if you have not done so already. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode of FittDesign TV. Until next week's, stay awesome.